At Arkansas Style, I am committed to bringing you programming to help you to make your life better. And I have invited a friend of mine, Heather Boschke, to join me in a conversation so that she can share with you some of the insight that she has found in her career and in her personal life. Just as a little history, Heather and I met at a previous job, so we don't live in the same state anymore, but her wisdom is so valuable that I think it's important to bring her stories to you. And what really struck me was that the two of us both parted that company, and I thought, they've just lost two awesome employees. How could they let Heather in particular go? So Heather, we've got a new life. We've risen from the Phoenix and here we are, better than ever, right?
You know what? There was a quote I heard the other day about how your unplanned pivots oftentimes land you in a better place than you could have ever planned. Again, trusting that universe.
Yeah, right. Well, and that kind of speaks to what we're going to talk about today, and that is owning your power. So when you pitched this idea to me, it struck me for a second, like, oh, I have power. You know, a lot of times we spend our lives with our friends, family, and in our career being pushed and pulled and not realizing that we have really any control over our outcomes, over our choices. And when you take a step back and you recognize that you have power, you have skin in the game, it's you, then all of a sudden the whole dynamic shifts and you feel like you have more control over what's happening. Is that kind of a fair setup to what we're going to cover today?
Yes, absolutely. And I think we really have to start with recognizing what makes you feel like you have less power. And oftentimes that comes back to when you don't feel like you're being seen. That's when you don't feel like you have power. And I even think about when I got let go from that company we both worked at, I definitely felt like I wasn't being seen. You feel like a throwaway. You feel like, something happened and you don't have value. So part of it is recognizing what happens when you start to feel less power.
A lot of times, the loss of power is because somebody took it away from us. It's hard to own your power when you feel like somebody has taken it away. But I think really the moral of the story is that you have to reframe what just happened. So if we go back to the example of losing a job, right? And you're not feeling like you're being seen and somebody took that away, it would go back to what you just said, where it's like sometimes things change and happen to us that feel like bad, but they turn out to be very good.
Yes, absolutely. And when you recognize that feeling of I'm feeling powerless, there's a physicality to it. You start to kind of shrink up a little bit. You contract, you kind of hide yourself and you make yourself small. You physically have to expand yourself. There is an action, a physicality to the antidote of feeling small and not seen. And so, I mean, I'm sure you've heard the talks from Amy Cuddy, the power posing, right? And oftentimes when you are feeling small and you're feeling like you don't have power, action and physicality is a great way out of that. So part of it is just shoulders back, your chin up. Got to make sure that crown doesn't fall off, right? But taking up space, right? Because you contract when you don't feel like you have power. So part of it is to kind of trick yourself out of it with make yourself big.
Mhm. So what you do have control over right away, without anybody's input, without anybody not seeing you, is your physicality, right? So if it's just as simple at home to saying, I feel wilted, I feel defeated, your whole body language plays into that narrative, right? And just by simply taking that power position, you shift the dynamic and you take the control away from the out the out people that are in your life, and you bring it back to the internal.
Yes. And whether it's just sitting up straight, expanding, actually doing, a power pose sometimes before I'm having a hard conversation. My favorite meditation pose is the tree pose. So I literally make yourself big. And so whether it's a power pose like this or your hands on your hips, doing something like that to get your mind in that powerful state. And another hack is sometimes when you feel powerless, your heart starts to race and you start to speak a little bit faster. Slow that down. It kind of goes back to meditation because when we breathe in and we breathe out and we exhale slowly, it actually triggers a relaxation response that slows your heart rate down. And again, that feeling of control, because when we're out of control, if we feel like we're being chased, if we're in danger, heart rate goes up and everything gets really frenetic. And so slowing that down through breathing is also another great hack to get that power back.
Let's talk about when you are defeated, when the power is taken away from you. What can you do to shift that narrative where you feel out of control or powerless?
Yeah. I mean, part of it is going to your tribe of people that fill you up. And, the anti-energy vampire, right? They're the people that make you feel good. They're the people that leave you lifted. So I always have my go-to tribe. I talk to my girlfriends, we go to happy hour. So that's part of it, is just getting out of your own mind. Sometimes our minds are terrible places to be alone. And so go to the people that make you feel good. And I often do affirmations. So if I'm meditating, I will have an affirmation that is simply, I am peace, I am love, I am power. And I just let those words kind of sink in. I feel almost like there's roots that are just strengthening when I do things like that. So sometimes words have transformational power. And so I'm a big fan of affirmations.
So when you think about those roots going down, with those affirmations, what popped into my head when you were talking about going out to your tribe, I looked at it as branches.
Yes, it's the whole who helps your light shine brighter. Find the people who are going to make your fire grow even bigger. And those are the people you want to surround yourself, because the times are going to happen. You're going to feel small. Things are going to go wrong. But you've got people that remind you of your power, of your light, of your fire, and they help to even turn it up more.
Thanks for sharing your insight on owning your power. I think it was really a delightful conversation. And if you'd like to reach out to Heather, you can visit her on her LinkedIn profile. She's got a lot of valuable information to share. Heather, thanks again for being with me. I'll see you again next time.
Thank you, friend.
Okay. Mwah. Bye.